All right, we're going to factor these trinomials again. And remember, anything that looks like this, x squared plus bx plus c. So notice we have, again, three terms, a trinomial, right? And we're going to write down our procedure here. So step one, we're going to determine a pair of numbers, two numbers, it's a pair, whose, here we go, product, I'll spell out the whole word product, whose product is C and whose sum is B. Okay, so this is going to be what we do here. We're going to have to find what we're talking about, I guess. So here, my B value, right, this B value is 5. So here's B, and then C is 6, so here's C. So for this problem, I need to have a pair of numbers whose product is 6 and whose sum is 5. Okay, product is 6, sum is 5. Now, remember, what are the numbers? Give me two numbers whose product is 6 and whose sum is 5. You guys said it was 2 and 3. Okay. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. So it looks like those are the numbers. So that's our first step. Is everybody okay with that first step? Product has to be C. The sum has to be B. And remember the second step, what we described earlier here. Step 2. You're going to use the pair of numbers found in step 1, okay, to write your answer as the following. Here we go. X and X. Okay, so here's what they mean by use the pair of numbers. The pair of numbers you found was a 2 and a 3. So you're going to write this as X. The sign of the two numbers are positive, so it's X plus 2 and X plus 3. Okay, so you're done. You had factored x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now, this is a procedure we just went through, and the 6 problems we did here, there are these examples we just worked on. So this is the exact same procedure. So as you guys notice, the key is to find the pair of numbers whose product is C, whose sum is B, and then that's what your answer is, essentially. Okay, is that easy? All right, isn't that easy? So let's go now to question number 3. X squared plus 12x plus 35, right? What is B? Right, B is 12, C is 35. So my product has to be 35, and my sum has to be 12. So what's the pair of numbers?
7 and 5.
7 and 5? Well, let's check. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 plus 5, is that 12? Okay, you're right. Final answer, X and X. Use that pair of numbers. Positive 7, positive 5. And you're done. Okay, you factored this trinomial. Okay, you guys okay with that one? Okay, is that pretty simple? Number 5. X squared plus 10x plus 21. So B is 10, C is 21. My product has to be 21. My sum has to be 10.
7 and 3.
What's the pair of numbers?
7 and 3.
Is it 7 and 3? Let's check. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 plus 3, is that 10? Okay. Final answer, x. X, is your 7 positive? So it's plus 7. Is the 3 positive? Plus 3. And you're done. Number 7. X squared plus 4x plus 4. What's my b value? 4. What's the c value? So I have to have a product that equals 4 and a sum that equals 4. So what's the pair of numbers? What is it? 2 and 2? Okay, let's see. 2 times 2 is 4. And is 2 plus 2 4? Those are the numbers. So you have x and x for the second step. Are the 2's positive? So put plus 2 and put plus 2, and you are done. Number 4. Number 7, I guess. Okay, pretty good. Let's look at number 9. Number 9 here is x squared plus x minus 6. Right? X squared plus x minus 6. So let's see if you guys are awake. What number is actually multiplied to this x? Is that 1? Right? Is there a 1 multiplied to that x?
Yes.
Okay, this is my b value, and this is my c value. My c value is negative 6. It's the number that comes after that x. So my product is going to be, let's write it down. Product is negative 6, and my sum is positive 1. So what two numbers multiplied together is negative 6, but added is positive 1? What's the numbers? Negative 2. Excuse me. Go back. Negative 2 and positive 3. Are those the numbers? Let's check. Negative 2 times positive 3 is a negative 6. Negative 2 plus 3, is that positive 1? All right, looks like those are the numbers. So you're going to write down here x, x, that number, okay? That first number, negative 2, I have to write it down. That's negative 2. The second number is positive 3. So it's negative 2 and positive 3. Here you go, we factored. Okay, you guys okay with that one? So yeah, you got to keep the sign of the numbers. So it's important to actually use the right numbers too. Yeah, question?
Does it have to be in that order?
Okay, here's what you can also do. You can say that the numbers were positive 3 and negative 2. Okay, in other words, we can switch this list of numbers as long as you keep the same, as long as you have the appropriate sign. Because it is true that 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, and 3 plus a negative 2 is also positive 1, which means I can write my answer this way. I can say x, x, and I can say here it's going to be plus 3 minus 2. Now, again, remember this. What's happening between these parentheses?
Multiplying?
Multiplying. It's multiplication there, right? A dot, multiplication. And the order in which you multiply doesn't matter. So I can switch my left term with my right term if I wanted. I could switch those terms because the order in which you multiply doesn't matter. So yes, if you had the purple or the red, that's the only two ways you can write your answer, and they're both fine. Okay, are you guys okay with that? They're both acceptable. Okay. Number 11. So this is x squared minus 5x plus 6. Now again, here's my b value, here's my c value. B is negative 5, c is positive 6. So I have to find two numbers whose product is positive 6, yet whose sum is negative 5. So what are the numbers? What numbers work here? Notice your sum is negative, but the product is positive. Now, when do you ever have a positive product? When both numbers are positive, or both numbers are what? Negative. Is that right? A negative times a negative is a positive. Now, the only way I can get a negative sum is if both numbers were negative. So what numbers are they? Negative 3 and negative 2. Those two numbers are negative. Let's see. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Negative 3 plus negative 2, what's this? Is that negative 5? If I owe $2 and I owe $3, don't I owe 5? Okay. All right. So these are the numbers. So we're going to say x, and make sure you put a negative 3 and a negative 2. You are done. You just factored this problem here. Okay, so we're factoring all these trinomials. That's number 11. Number 13, x squared minus 11x plus 30. My b value, my c value. So looks like I have to have a product that's positive 30 and a sum that's negative 11. So what are the numbers? Remember, the only way I could get a negative sum when I have a positive product is to do what? Both the numbers have to be what? Negative. So what two negative numbers multiplied together gives you a product of positive 30? Negative 6, negative 5? Let's check. Is negative 6 times negative 5 positive 30? Mm-hmm. Negative 6 plus negative 5. What's this? Is that negative 11? Okay, final answer. X. What are the numbers? Negative 6 and negative 5. You factored. And you're done. Okay, so that one's number 13. 15, we get what? X squared minus 12x plus 27. Let's see. Got my b value, got my c value. Product needs to be 27. The sum is negative 12. So what numbers multiply together is a positive 27, but when added is negative 12. What do you guys think? What are they? They're both negative, right? Negative 9 and negative 3. Why are they both negative? Because when you multiply two numbers together and it's positive, either they're both positive or both negative. Negative 9 times negative 3 is positive 27. Negative 9 plus negative 3, is that negative 12? Yeah. So we got our answer here. X, last step, minus 9, minus 3. Okay. A two-step question here. Okay, pretty much 2 steps. Let's see, what's 17 look like? All right, x squared minus 2x minus 24. Okay, let's see what happens here. Right, our b value is negative 2, our c value is negative 24. So the product has to equal negative 24. The sum has to equal negative 2. So notice, you need two pairs of numbers whose product is negative and whose sum is negative. Now, that's not so easy to answer, but if you have a product that's negative, you know one of the numbers is negative and the other number is what? Positive. Isn't that the only way you can multiply two numbers and make it negative? If they're both positive, the product is positive. If they're both negative, the product is positive. If one's positive, one's negative, the product is negative. So they're going to have opposite signs. So let's see. What are the answers here? What do you guys think? 6 and what? Negative 6 and positive 4? I don't know. Let me check. Negative 6 times a positive 4 is negative 24. Negative 6 plus 4. Is that negative 2? Okay, looks like you guys are right. Good. So notice factoring this trinomial is that simple. Just use the numbers x minus 6, x plus 4, and you'd factor this trinomial. 17. X squared minus 4x plus 4. So my b value is negative 4 and my c value is positive 4. So my product has to equal 4 and my sum has to equal negative 4. What two numbers multiply together is a positive 4 but yet has a negative sum? In order to get a negative sum, when you multiply two numbers and it's positive, both those numbers have to be negative. Is that true?
Negative 2.
So there's going to be negative 2 and negative 2. Let's check. Is negative 2 times negative 2 positive 4? Okay. Negative 2 plus negative 2? Is that negative 4? There you go. So x minus 2 minus 2. Okay, you are done. Okay, pretty good. 21. X squared minus x minus 12. I know there's no number in front of that x. There's just a sign. It's negative x, but that's my b value. My c value is negative 12. So I have to have a product that's negative 12 and a sum that's negative 1. So if my product's negative, one number's positive, the other one's negative. So what are these numbers going to be?
Negative 4 and 3.
Let's double check. Negative 4, positive 3. Is that true?
Yes.
Is negative 4 times positive 3 negative 12?
Yes.
Okay. What's negative 4 plus 3? Is that negative 1?
Yes.
All right. X minus 4 plus 3. It's a good job. Look at that. Okay, pretty good. All right, let's go to the next one, 23. Oops, forget. We have x squared plus 10x plus 25. So x squared plus 10x plus 25. Okay, b is positive 10, c is 25. I need a pair of numbers whose product is 25 and whose sum is 10. So what are the two numbers? 5 and 5? Let's check. Is 5 times 5 25? Yes. Is 5 plus 5 10? Mm-hmm. So we're going to write this as x plus 5 plus 5. And you are done. So how many of these problems you guys think you have to do? Enough so you could do it in your sleep. Good? Okay. B is negative 6, C is positive 9. So I need a product. That's positive 9, and I need a sum. That's negative 6. So what are the pair of numbers? Remember, you're looking at two numbers multiplied together. That's positive. That only happens if both numbers are positive or both numbers are negative. And then the sum is negative. Negative 3, negative 3. Okay. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Negative 3 plus negative 3 is negative 6. So, those are the numbers. X, minus 3, minus 3. Here we go. What do you guys think? What happens when there's no pair? What do you think might happen if there is no pair of numbers? What do we say? Not factorable. Prime. Anyway, maybe we'll see that. B and C. Give me a pair whose product is 12 and whose sum is 7. 4 and 3? Does that work out? Let's see. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 plus 3, is that 7? Good job. So we get x, positive 4, and what? Plus 4 and plus 3. You are done. Good job. 29. X squared minus 3x plus 2, and you get B and C. Product has to be 2, and my sum has to be negative 3. So again, the sum is negative and the product is positive. That means both numbers have to be negative. Is that true? Okay. So what are the numbers? Maybe no. What are the numbers?
Negative 2 and negative 1.
Good. Does that work? Let's see. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. Negative 2 plus negative 1, is that negative 3? Looks like it is. Okay. X minus 2 minus 1. We have x squared minus x minus 30. Be careful. What do I put in front of that negative x? Is that negative 1x? My b value, my c value. All right, I got the product being negative 30. I get the sum being negative 1. Two numbers multiplied together is negative 30.
Negative 6 and 5.
Let's see, negative 6 and positive 5. Does that give me a negative 30 product? It does. What's negative 6 plus 5? Is that negative 1? It is. X, negative 6 plus 5. You are done. X squared minus 9x minus 22. Okay. B, C. My product is negative 22. My sum is negative 9. Is that true? Okay, so what pair of numbers multiplied together is negative, but when added is also negative again? That's going to be a special situation, not so easy to find. Well, one has to be positive, one has to be negative. You're saying negative 11 and positive 2. Let's double check. I don't really know. Negative 11 times positive 2 is negative 22. Negative 11 plus 2, is that negative 9? Yes. Okay, looks like you guys are right. X, bring down the numbers. Negative 11 and positive 2. You just factored the trinomial. What's this recipe called? Chicken soup. Good. Chicken soup. 35x squared plus 14x plus 45. Okay. B, C, two numbers whose product is 45 and whose sum is 14. So what two numbers are they? 9 and 5? Okay. Is 9 times 5 45?
Yeah.
9 plus 5 14? You guys are right. Notice what I've always said, right? All of these operations in algebra are based on what? Arithmetic. So you can't do algebra unless you know some what? Some arithmetic, right? And even signed arithmetic. So all we're doing is just that, doing some arithmetic, adding, multiplying. All right, this is number 37. Let's see if we can knock this out. X squared minus 8x plus 15, B, C. My product is 15 and my sum is negative 8. What two numbers multiplied together has a product of 15 and a sum of negative 8?
3 and 5?
3 and 5 negative.
What are they?
Negative 3 negative.
Okay, looks like you guys know your arithmetic. Let's double check. Negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. Negative 3 plus negative 5 is negative 8. You guys are right. So, x, my numbers are minus 3, minus 5. And there you go. $39, we get x squared minus x minus 42. What number goes in front of that x? Is that negative 1? I get B, I get C. My product is a negative number, negative 42. My sum is a negative 1. So what two numbers multiply together give you that product of a negative but a sum of a negative? What are they?
Negative 7 and 6.
Negative 7, positive 6. Let's double check. Sure enough, negative 7 times positive 6 is negative 42. Negative 7 plus 6, is that negative 1? Looks like you guys are right. X minus 7 plus R6. Okay, that's pretty good. $41, we have x squared plus 3x minus 40. My B value, my C value. What does a product have to be? It's at negative 40. My sum has to be positive 3. Okay. Is that going to be difficult?
8 and negative 5.
What do you guys think? What are you going to get? What are the pair of numbers?
8 and
Negative 8 and positive 5. Is that true?
8 and negative 5.
Okay. 8 and negative 5. Okay. 8 times negative 5 is negative 40. 8 plus negative 5, you're right, is positive 3. So we're going to have x and x. That 8 is positive and the 5 is negative. So pretty good. Factor this trinomial. 43. Let's see if we can find 43. X squared minus 16x plus 60. Okay. B and C. Product has to be a positive 60. My sum needs to be a negative 16. So what two numbers multiply together?
Negative 6 and negative 10.
Okay, that's pretty good. Negative 6 times negative 10. Is that going to be positive 60? All right. What happens when we add these numbers? You're right. Look at that. You're absolutely right. It's going to be negative 6 and negative 10. Good job. Look at that. You guys are factoring trinomials. This is chicken soup, I guess. X squared minus 14x plus 24. give me a product. My product has to be 24, and my sum needs to be negative 14. Give me two numbers multiplied together. It's positive, but when added is negative. Negative 12 and negative 2. Double check. Is that positive? Yep. What's negative 12 plus negative 2? Up. You're right again. X and X minus 12 minus 2. Okay. Pretty good. You guys are okay with that. (47) x squared plus 18x plus 45. Okay. B, C. My product is 45 and my sum is 18. What's the pair of numbers? Anybody know? 3 and 15? Let's double check. Is 3 times 15 45? Looks like it is. What's 3 15? 3 plus 15. Is that 18? Okay. So you're right. You guys are right again. Positive 3, positive 15. Looking for those pairs of numbers. Okay. 49, x squared plus 12x plus 36. So let's find the pair of numbers. B, C. My product is 36. My sum is 12. What's the pair? What is it? 6 and 6. Is that true? 6 times 6 is 12. 6 plus 6, I'm sorry, 6 times 6 is 36, and 6 plus 6 is 12. Looks like you guys are right. X. What do I do with these? Bring down the pair of numbers, plus 6 and plus 6. 49. That's pretty good. 51. X squared plus 2x minus 63. So far all of these terms have been factorable. Right. I got a product here that's being negative 63. I got a sum that's positive 2. So what's the pair of numbers that multiply together is negative 63? What is it?
Negative 9 and 7.
It's 9 and negative 7.
9 and negative 7? Let's check. Positive times a negative is a negative. 9 plus negative 7, is that positive 2? All right. Okay, it's factorable. Yeah, make sure it does have to be these exact pair. In other words, the 9 has to be positive and the 7 has to be negative. Because if it's not, you're going to get the answer wrong. Should we do one more? Let's see. What's the time like? Oh, let's do one more. 53. One for the road. X squared minus 13x plus 40. Here we go. B and C.
11x.
Oh, what is it?
11x.
11x. Oh, let's see. 53. It's plus 11x. Oh. Uh-oh. Plus 11x. And what's this last term? Minus 42. Okay. One for the road. My product is negative 42, and my sum is positive 11. Number 53. You're right. What are the two numbers?
14 and negative 3.
6 and
Product is negative 42. Sum is 11.
6 and 7.
14 negative 3.
14 and what?
Negative.
14 and negative 3? Let's double check. Ooh, got you guys on the last problem. Let's see. What's 14 times negative 3? Right? You guys know what 14 times negative 3 is? I think you're right. It is negative 42. Okay. 14 times negative 3. Now, what's 14 plus negative 3? Is that positive 11? Okay. So here we go. X plus 14 minus 3. Okay. All right. Good job. Good job.